Hello, my name is Eunice. I am the Immigration Senior Associate here at Worth Sherwood. And today I'd like to speak to you about sponsor licenses, what they are, and how they can help you as a UK employer. What is a sponsor license? So, a sponsor license is issued by the Home Office to UK employers seeking to employ non-British nationals with no other right to reside in the UK. The prospective employees will be sponsored under the immigration rules as a skilled worker, which you may have heard of being known as a Tier 2 migrant. The roles which the non-British nationals can be sponsored to undertake are limited to those considered to be at school leaver level or above, as defined by the Home Office and in the immigration rules. In order for a company to be issued with a sponsor license, UK employers will need to satisfy the Home Office that they can be entrusted and have the systems in place to operate that license. Once a sponsor license is issued, they may then begin the process to employ non-British nationals by issuing them with certificates. These certificates, known as certificates of sponsorship, will form the basis of an application to be made by the prospective employees for a skilled worker visa. Skilled worker visas allow for the prospective employee to work for that UK employer in the UK. There will be conditions attached to that visa, such as their main work being for the UK employer who's sponsoring them and no access to public funds. They can sponsor partners and children to join them in the UK too. They'll be able to extend those visas if the UK employer wishes to continue sponsoring them. And once they reach 5 years of residence in the UK with a skilled worker visa, they'll be eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is their form of settlement. Once they obtain that indefinite leave to remain, they will no longer require the employee's sponsorship. Who can a company sponsor? A UK employer with a sponsor license can employ any non-British national who has the requisite skills and/or experience to fulfill a role that can be sponsored under immigration rules. Not all employment roles can be sponsored, unfortunately. There are minimum skill level and salary levels that need to be satisfied, which are set out by the Home Office in the immigration rules. In most cases, but not all, the skill level is at school leaver level, so your 18 plus level, and the minimum salary is £25,600. In addition to this, the prospective employees are subject to further scrutiny by the Home Office to ensure they are suitable individuals. For example, they will be checked to ensure they have no disqualifying criminal convictions, cautions, civil judgments, and there are no other reasons why their presence in the UK are not conducive to the public good. What responsibilities does a company have once a license is obtained? So, sponsor licenses being issued by the Home Office are issued to those UK employers who acknowledge their duties and responsibilities. In effect, these are employers who have robust systems in place. And the Home Office, when looking at the employers they will be willing to offer sponsor licenses to, say this. They say that sponsorship is a privilege and not a right. This means that those who benefit most directly from employing migrant workers must play their part in ensuring that the immigration system is not abused, comply with wider UK law, and not behave in a manner which is not conducive to the public good. Non-British nationals who apply for permission to enter or stay in the UK and that are eligible, they should be tried and checked to ensure they are trustworthy and that the licensed UK employer genuinely wishes to employ and sponsor them. In addition, significant trust is placed in the UK employer. With this trust comes a direct responsibility to act in accordance with the UK's immigration laws. So, in effect, what that means is that a license holder is required to ensure that they and their employee, insofar as they're employed with them, are following the immigration rules and the conditions of the employee's visa. In practice, that means that the UK employer has systems in place to monitor staff activity, including when they attend the office or when there are change of circumstances. For example, if they change of address or fail to report to work for some time. These change of circumstances will be usually reported to the Home Office through something known as a sponsor management system, or otherwise known as the SMS. In addition, the UK employer and those tasked to operate the license will be expected to ensure that any information relating to their employees is held safely and securely, and that their license is operated properly. And again, what in effect that means is that if the Home Office decide to come and do a visit to the employer, known as a compliance visit, and they usually do this if they just want to check to ensure that the license is being operated properly, and those who are in charge of the license know what they're doing, that the operators of the license know where documentation is, know where information is, and can answer questions accurately. How long does it take for the Home Office to make a decision on a sponsor license application? The Home Office currently will aim to make a decision within approximately 8 weeks. It is possible to pay an additional £500 as it stands at the moment to have a decision within 10 working days, but this option is unfortunately limited and is available on a first come, first served basis. When considering the application, the Home Office may attend your business premises on short notice to undertake a compliance check, and they will do this if they require more information before making a decision. If a compliance visit is required, and they do usually inform you before doing this, it is likely the decision may take a little bit longer than the 8 weeks that they advertise. If the application is granted, how long is the license valid for? Sponsor licenses are valid for a period of 4 years. They do need to be renewed prior to expiry to ensure that those employees who are currently sponsored under sponsor license maintain their lawful employment status with you. So it will be recommended that you apply to renew the license at least a few days, a week or a couple of weeks before it expires. What happens if the application is unsuccessful? In our experience, the Home Office actually aim to work with employers when considering and issuing sponsor licenses. Their website offers contact details for the business help desk, where questions arise prior to and once an application is pending. If there is an issue and it means they are unable to process the application, the Home Office will usually seek to either contact the employer to rectify the issue or reject the application. Rejecting the application is different to refusing the application. If the Home Office refuses a sponsor license application, that means they've considered the application and they considered that on the evidence provided, you do not satisfy the criteria, and they actually make a decision to refuse. If this happens, the UK employer will be barred from applying again for a period of 6 months. If the application is rejected, the difference here is that they've looked at the documentation and they've said that you've not made a valid application, for example, because there are some documentation missing, and therefore they haven't even considered making a decision. They've just said you've not provided enough information for them to even get to that point. Rejection is in many ways a good thing because it means that the application was not valid in the first place, and therefore the employer is free to apply again and there are no bars to you applying again. How much does it cost? A very important question. So the current cost of obtaining a sponsor license is £536 if you're considered a small sponsor, and £1,476 if you're a large sponsor. A company is considered a small sponsor if at least 2 of the following apply. Firstly, your annual turnover is £10.2 million or less. 2, your total assets are worth £5.1 million or less. And or 3, you have 50 employees or fewer. Registered charities who are able to obviously sponsor 2 are considered as small sponsors automatically. Once an employer has identified an employee they wish to sponsor, there are, of course, costs involved relating to the issue of that certificate of sponsorship, known as the certificate of sponsorship, or cost. The cost is obtained from the Home Office and then assigned to the prospective employee by the UK employer. The prospective employee will then use this cost to apply to the Home Office for their skilled worker visa. Further costs once a prospective employee is identified are as follows. So you're looking at an immigration skills charge applying. It doesn't apply in all circumstances. And the application fee for the prospective employee. Some employers choose to absorb that cost on behalf of the prospective employee, and some pass it on to the employee. So that is up to you how you want to apply for that. The immigration health surcharge for the prospective employee. So this is currently £624 for each year of leave they're seeking. So if obviously for whatever reason you're applying for 1 year of leave for the prospective employee, they will only pay £624 for that. And there are obviously fees related to any of the prospective employees' dependents applying. So as mentioned earlier, the prospective employee may wish to bring a partner and or children with them too, and there will be associated fees with that. Does having a license attract staff? Now, this is an interesting question. It's too early to tell what the impact of Brexit is, simply because of the pandemic and economic situation ensued since then. But the current labour shortages and the overall UK economy and the popularity of the UK as a destination for business and the best talent is unlikely to change in the short or medium term. The UK is still the 5th largest economy in the world. It has the 3rd largest financial services sector in the OECD, contributing roughly about 164.8 billion to the UK economy, equating to 8.6% of total economic output. The UK is considered by some to be the world's financial capital due to it being the highest net exporter of financial services in the world. And when it comes to education, the UK is the 2nd most popular destination for international students, with approximately 500,000 in 2020. And of these students, the most common arrivals are foreign nationals from China and India. When we look at the data, the UK has had significant levels of net migration in the lead up to 1st January 2021, when free movement ended. And provisional migration figures showed that the net migration from EU nationals was negative, which effectively means that more EU nationals left the UK than arrived, with approximately 94,000 more EU nationals emigrating to the UK than arriving, according to ONS figures. We also need to look at the current job vacancies, which at the most recent reading are at a record of 2.7 million, with some sectors experiencing particular shortfalls. The government have introduced some temporary immigration solutions to resolve some of the sector-specific issues, such as the one relating to the recruitment of poultry workers, pork butchers, and HGV food drivers. But these are short-term solutions. The recent introduction of the graduate visa route has made it easier for both employers and students. What they have effectively required and meant is that students who are coming to the end of their studies, be it undergraduate, postgraduate, or PhD study, can now, for a period of 2 years, or 3 if they're a PhD student, allow the student to lawfully remain in the UK and work and develop a professional relationship with an employer, without employers having to commit resources into sponsoring and deploying these individuals. Anecdotal evidence suggests that students and those seeking to work in the UK actively seek employment with companies that have sponsor licenses. They want to be able to see that if they put their labour, time, and efforts into working in that role and develop those skills and make an impression, that they are going to have the opportunity to then be sponsored and continue growing into that position. So as such, when considering the costs and benefits of holding a sponsor license, it follows that my advice is that future-proofing your business is obtaining a sponsor license. So this has obviously been a little bit of a whirlwind through what a sponsor license is and what it entails. There are, of course, a lot more technical details required. For example, each specific role has its requirements. There are what we call genuine vacancy requirements that need to be satisfied. So we can't simply just, hire whoever we want. We need to show that A, it's a genuine vacancy, and B, that the individual that you wish to sponsor does have the requisite skills and experience, as well as a myriad of other bits and pieces that we need to consider when applying for a sponsor license. If you do have any questions, do feel free to get in contact with us. Otherwise, thank you for listening.